What's up, everybody? We are back with some more PGA DFS picks and lineup advice for FanDuel and DraftKings. This time for the 2023 American Express, the AMEX. Welcome, I'm Brian Jester, co-founder here at Occupy Fantasy. If you're new to these videos, welcome. What we normally do is we talk about the course and the event itself, any weather impacts we see for DFS. The betting markets, that's the most important part of this video. We look at sharp sports books to see where action's coming in, to see how that can impact our DFS decisions. And then we'll talk about some ownership, some of the chalkiest and most popular players on the slate, in addition to some sub 5% guys that we are really interested in. Before we get started, make sure you are subscribed to the channel, get notified when we go live, upload these PGA videos every single week. Give us a thumbs up if you like the content. We appreciate it. Any questions, I will monitor the YouTube channel until the slate locks Thursday morning, afternoon, depending on where you are. And I'll answer those questions as they come in. So let's jump into it. Now, normally, if you've watched the past couple of videos, the past two events, the videos we've done here, start off with the weather. However, weather doesn't really look like it's going to be a factor at all out in Palm Springs. Barely any wind. The tee groupings, the way this course is set up, we'll talk about that here in a second. The way this course is set up, a lot of the guys are teeing off in a much more condensed time window than we see with the early and afternoon waves in a traditional no-cut event. So weather not going to impact our decision making for this particular tournament. Instead, let's start this video by talking about the event itself, because there may be some questions if you're new to PGA, or if you just don't know what this event is about, or maybe you've read about it and you still don't really understand it. I'll discuss that here in a second and talk about what it means and if it really means anything for our lineup. So let's go over to the daily plug, occupyfantasy.com. This posts every Tuesday evening or Wednesday morning. Our writer, Niramata, top PGA DFS player talks about his picks, what is necessary on this course, how it breaks down, everything you need to crush a PGA DFS slate. Here's the course info section. So what you'll see here, we have 3 courses listed, and that is because in this event, the golfers will have a rotation. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they will play a round at each of these 3 courses. During this time, they will also be paired up with a different amateur, and they will play pairings with these amateurs. Now, the amateur scoring doesn't matter for DFS; doesn't really matter for much. But basically, there's 3 rounds, and then there will be a cut. So instead of the normal 2 rounds and then a cut Friday evening, the cut will be on Saturday evening this time after the players have had a chance to play at all 3 of these courses. Then on Sunday, as you see at the top here, all the players will return to PGA West, the stadium course, and they'll play the final round there. So 3 days instead of 2 days before the cut. Amateurs, and the only reason we really mention that is I know Niramata in the player attributes we want section talks about the characteristics we would like to see from, or the ideal characteristics we would like to see from golfers in our lineups this week. And he notes, be able to tolerate slow rounds with an amateur partner for 3 days. These aren't actual golfers. These are basically just rich dudes who pay $30K to partner up and get a PGA experience and play with John Rahm and these guys for 3 days. So yeah, they have to have some patience and some tolerance, but that also means that these courses are going to be incredibly easy if they're playing with amateurs as well. They set up the courses even easier. On Sunday, the stadium course will be a little more difficult with pin positions and whatnot, but these are just retirement courses basically. La Quinta Country Club, the Nicklaus course are some of the easiest courses that these guys will play on tour all season long. And when you play Showdown, this video is for classic contests, but if you play DFS Showdown round 1, round 2, round 3, you might want to favor guys on La Quinta or the Nicklaus course a little more, especially La Quinta, as that is going to play the easiest of the 3 courses. Now, it's 2023. The field knows this. So you probably will get some lower ownership on guys playing the stadium course. So don't completely count them out. But maybe for low risk contests, you're looking for some of the chalkier players like Quinta Country Club. Or if you can find lower owned guys playing on La Quinta in round 1, 2, or round 3, that can certainly provide an edge for classic contests. But again, for showdown contests, excuse me. But for classic contests, all the guys are going to play at all 3 of these. The characteristics are similar enough that we can get an archetype for the optimal player, the optimal golfer, and be okay modeling that out. So I think that covers it. If you have any more questions about the setup or the tournament or the course, comment on the video below, and I'll certainly answer it for you. And if I don't know the answer, which is possible, I'll ask Niramata, our golf expert, and I'll relay that answer back to you. Now, let's talk about the betting markets. If you watch the first two videos of this series of this season, uh, what we do, what we like to do is we monitor 3 or 4 different sharp sports books that take really heavy, sharp action on golf bets in particular. We know how to monitor them now. We can decipher what line moves mean. And what we do is we see which golfers are getting hit at all these different books. And we have these overlap plays. The golfers that are getting hit at all of these sharp sports books normally means something. We like to get those guys into our DFS lineups. Oftentimes, they have lowered ownership, which is the best part of it. Now, if you look last week, I mentioned a couple guys in the video, but the betting market stays open until the event begins. So by Thursday morning last week, we actually had some more guys enter this overlap conversation that were hit at every single sports book. Let me bring it up here. This is in our Discord server. This is the PGA channel. If you don't have access, the link's in the description below, occupyfantasy.com/discord. But there ended up being 7 guys whose odds to win were improved. Basically, they moved the line because they were getting sharp action on these guys. 7 different guys at 3 different sharp sports books. And these guys, Cage Lee, Montgomery, Yeager, Putnam, Horschel, Hoagie, and Inglis, 6 of the 7 made the cut. We had 2 top 10s in here with Montgomery and Putnam. Just Horschel was the only one that missed the cut. Didn't get a ton of weekend luck with some of these other guys. But 6 out of 7 making the cut on a week where the field was absolutely destroyed in 6 out of 6 percentage is very key. We had 2 guys in the Century Tournament of Champions. One of those finished in the top 5. So off to a hot start for these sharp sportsbook moves. And we have 4 more moves as of early Wednesday afternoon today. So let's go back over to DraftKings. I'll talk about the 4 that I see right now. And any more, I'll add to Discord either late tonight or early tomorrow morning as guys you want to get into your lineup. So the 4 guys, and we'll go from most popular to least popular. First one is KH Lee. Played last week. He 8,300. Also played in the Century Tournament of Champions. So has some starts under his belt in the last couple of weeks. Cage Lee hit at all of the sharp sports books. He is a sharp sports book play. However, we go to our Occupy model, occupyfantasy.com, ranks every golfer, FanDuel, and DraftKings with our projected ownership. And again, looking at these numbers, if you want to screenshot this, go for it. But these numbers will have a final update later tonight. And they will move a couple percentage points. That matters for building lineups. But you look, Cage Lee, 18% projected ownership. So not low owned, one of the higher owned golfers on the week. So he's not slipping under the radar at all. Another golfer that is part of this overlap play that all sharp sports books have moved their odds to win. Cam Davis. He is 8,800 this week. Had some up and down rounds. Last week had the 70 in round 2 at the Sony. Finished T32, nothing spectacular, but he's been hit at all of the sharp sports books. If we go back to the model, we see Cam Davis 13%. So beyond that high owned threshold that we look for, he's considered medium owned on the lower end. So love to see that. And again, aside from KH Lee, these other 3 guys aren't considered highly owned at all. Again, as of Wednesday, maybe this changes a little bit tonight, but we'd love to see this. And that's the thing about the guys I mentioned last week. Most of these guys were pretty unpopular. There were a couple that got above 15%, but most of these guys were in that sub 15% range. And again, it's one of the biggest edges we have in PGA DFS. All right, Cam Davis, Sahith Theegala, he is 8,600. It was at the Century Tournament of Champions. Didn't play last week at the Sony, but he's back this week. He was hit at all of the sharp sports books. Let's go back to the model. We have Theegala projected for just 11%. Even better. This is getting lower the more we look. So this is great. So who we have so far? KH Lee, Cam Davis, Sahith Theegala. And the final move as of Wednesday afternoon, maybe surprising, Johnny Vegas, who is $7,200. The $7,200 overlap play. All of the sharp sports books have taken enough action. They've seen it enough. They're moving the odds to win on Johnny Vegas. May seem crazy, right? We go to the Occupy model. Johnny Vegas, projected, if I can spell his name right, for just 3% on DraftKings, 1% on FanDuel. No one's going to be playing Johnny Vegas this week. However, the course fits him very well. What the course asks you to do as a golfer fits his strengths really well. Does well in easier scoring conditions, what these courses absolutely will be. And he ranks in the top 20 of our model. So checks a lot of boxes for a low-owned golfer. You got to get really excited when you see stuff like this. I guess I should change sidebar here, shouldn't I? Yeah, we've been talking about markets for the past 5 minutes, but so Vegas, Cage Lee, Theegala, Cam Davis, as of Wednesday afternoon, the overlap plays that we'd love to see. I will update our Discord tonight, early tomorrow morning. Nirmata will put some more betting market thoughts in the Wednesday update of the Daily Plug, so make sure you have access to those after you watch this video. Before, guys, let's keep the hot streak of these sharp sportsbook plays going in PGA DFS. All right, back to DraftKings. Let's close out the video here with some ownership discussions. Now I'll transition on time to the chalk discussion. And if we go back to the model and we sort by projected ownership, it's a really weird dynamic this week where we have 9 guys projected for 15% or higher as of the time of this video. Pretty top heavy though. 4 guys 20% or higher, 2 guys 24% or more, 3 guys 23% or more. So really what this tells me is as long as you don't play more than, say, 2 of these guys, if you play 3, 4, 5 of these guys, then you have to be mindful of the rest of your lineup. But if you play just 2 of these guys or 1 of these guys, it's really easy to get different. Most of the other guys are under 15%, and a vast majority, I mean, 90% are under 10%. So very, very easy to get different this week. Unlike last week, there's a lot of sub 5% plays that we really like. So the chalkiness doesn't matter to an extent this week as much as it has in the past 2 weeks, which is a great thing if you play high risk PGA contests. Now, speaking of those 5% guys, let's transition one more time here. We'll look at golfers that have 6% or less projected ownership as of Wednesday afternoon. These are the guys we want to mix into our tournament lineups. They are essential to winning tournament lineups. Guys, pretty much every tournament winning lineup in PGA DFS history, especially the large field ones, have a 5% or less owned golfer. Not all of them, but a vast majority of them. And we have to find guys, these types of guys, even though they're uncomfortable, we have to find these guys to play in our tournament lineups. Vegas was one. Both by Vegas standards and by his name, Johnny Vegas fits the mold as a 3% golfer. We should get exposure to him in our lineups. And if you're playing one lineup, maybe he's your differentiator. Playing a multiple lineups, you go overweight on him. The other guy that I want to point out here is a model favorite. I think Nirmata also wrote him up in the plug this week. It's a Matthew Neesmith, who he's one of those guys that when the model comes out Tuesday afternoons, I have to double check the back end to make sure there are no issues with the data feeds because it was surprising to see him this high, but very high in the model, just 4% projected ownership, and had a great ending to 2022. Let's go back to DraftKings. We look at Matthew Neesmith, and hasn't played since November, but you see that stretch in September and October of T9, T2, T9. Missed the cut at the RSM to close out the year. But again, there's another course, and then there's another golfer where what is asked of the course fits his strengths really well. And the model's picking up on it. And when our model picks up on it and a sub 5%, these are guys that we should be looking to mix into our high risk tournament lineups. Again, the sub 5%ers we mentioned last week, Ches Reavie made the cut. Didn't hurt your lineups, probably helped your lineups a little bit. Ryan Palmer needed the birdie on 18 to get there. He got there. And no, wait. We thought he needed the birdie on 18 because we thought the cut was trending towards -3. Ended up being -2. He made the cut anyways. Had a nice little weekend. Ryan Palmer finished top 40. So sub 5% guys didn't kill us last week. Let's see if we can get a top 5%er or a top 5 or a top 10 out of our 5% play that we call out in the video this week. And as I mentioned last week when talking about Ryan Palmer, when these guys finish in the top 10, the top 5, that's when we print money in PGA DFS. So continue to hammer these guys, these sub 5% guys. They're going to miss some cuts, and they're going to ruin our lineups sometimes even more likely than not in tournaments. But we need to take risks in tournaments. And these are the types of guys that really how you win big money. My 200K combined victory last July was with a 3% golfer. Again, go look at winners. You're going to see it's tons of sub 5% golfers. So that'll do it for this video. Covered a decent amount here. Again, for updates, make sure you check our Discord later. If you have any questions, comment on the video. I'll get back to you. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. The daily plug is already out. Nirmata has his top plays for the tournament. A lot of guys we didn't cover in this video, so make sure you go read that. The Wednesday betting market update by Nirmata will be posted later this afternoon. The Occupy model will have a final update tonight for projected ownership. The lineup builder is already up and running. You can build up to 300 PGA DFS lineups for FanDuel and DraftKings using our optimal lineup criteria. Showdown is included as well, so make sure you go check that out. I think that's it. If you made it this far and you liked the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're doing these videos every single Wednesday for PGA DFS, doing other videos for other sports. So subscribing is the best way to make sure you don't miss them. and like the video. We'd appreciate it. Helps others find the video as well. So Brian Jester, Occupy Fantasy, thanks for listening and good luck at the 2023 American Express.